What's good? What's good? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. So, everyone, we got action, and we called it. Last week, I did a video on 38 Spesh and his online rants about Jadakiss, Fat Joe, StoveGod Cooks, and reaction to the Aroma record, saying basically that's a big mistake. You know what I mean? That's a mistake making that record. And we also talked about the possible brewing competition between Upstate New York MCs and also New York City MCs, and maybe the feeling in the air that Upstate's not getting their respect, even though for the last 10 years they've been carrying the indie underground hip hop game in the New York boom bap sound. Well, we officially have a response from 38 Spesh. Last night he dropped the single Fool's Mate. And already the net's in a firestorm. We got a lot of people talking about Upstate New York MCs and New York City's about to go to war. You know what I mean? The troops are lining up at the border right now, getting their weapons ready for war. We got 38 Spesh spouting off backstage at Summer Jam. A whole lot of action is going on. So we're going to sort it all out. We're going to start with Fool's Mate. And I want to start off by adding, which I didn't really add in my last podcast. I want to add the Jim Jones portion of this beef or what have you. So allow me to backtrack for a little bit. This was, I want to say, before the Aroma record dropped. I want to say Jim Jones and his peoples came out with some comments about 38 Spesh, and Jim Jones kind of came at the dude's neck kind of reckless. Now, you know, Jim Jones is a talker. Last year, Jim Jones said he was worthy more in hip-hop culture than Nas, especially the young people. And we know the controversy that put out there. And we know Jim Jones is a hothead. He likes to talk a lot. And he kind of does the same thing for the same engagement. You know what I mean? For his stuff. So we're going to talk about the Jim Jones section and then set up Fool's Mate, where we're going to go into. And then we're going to get into Fool's Mate as an overall reaction or response to the Aroma record, because there's a lot to cover with this. But let's just say it's getting good. It's getting good. We have our battle for the summer this year, and it's getting good. So I want to start off with the Jim Jones situation just to set the context for all of this, where he actually threatens 38 Spesh. So let's talk about that first.
Wreck TV.
I just told my young buck I'm gonna give him a deal if he bites you. You ain't got enough money to talk to me. You're not even allowed to be talking to me in any type of way like that. I'm gonna spare you. You heard you're joking me, but my young boy ain't gonna spare you.
Niggas will walk you down ASAP. Don't get it confused, bro.
Tonight we gonna walk on. Matter of fact, tonight we go. I told him I'm gonna give him a deal.
Niggas will walk you down, bro. ASAP. It's already up. Green light is on your fucking mata. We on you, bro. You shitting me?
And then this me on it was stupid. A real drug dealer? Y'all gonna diss a real drug dealer? A nigga that really.
And of course, yeah. So we go back. That was before. 38 Spesh went on Bag Fuel and talk shit about Jim Jones. Talking, and that's where the Jim Jones portion of that comes to. So basically, Jim Jones is saying, "I'm gonna let my young boy handle you. I'll give him a deal. He could smoke you in a battle." And Jim Jones also was critical about dude's dress, and you know what I mean, how he dressed or whatnot. You know, I think he said that previously or what have you. So Jim Jones has been coming at this dude's neck and you know, just talking, not even about hip hop. So with that, last night we had Summer Jam. And 38 Spesh touched the Summer Jam stage before Fool's Meat dropped. You know what I mean? And Fool's Meat, well, I'm gonna set the tempo for you. First, let's play Fool's Meat. I'm just gonna play a snippet of Fool's Meat for y'all, just to get your get the feel of this record. Because of course I can't play the whole thing, you know, copyright and all of that. So I'll just give you a quick sample of the Fool's Meat record. Quick card.
Frontin' ain't have to move weight. You joined the gang at 30-something. That was too late. You think 38 give a fuck what a rap dude make? They had wagyu on their plates. We had cube steaks. Niggas only care about views and how they shoes lace. You had a baby by a bum bitch. That's a fool's mate.
Okay, so basically, Fool's Mate overall is really more of a Jim Jones diss. I'm just going to give that out there right now. And there are a lot of comments online as to saying, well, why is he going at Jim Jones? This was supposed to be with Jadakiss and Fat Joe. This is a response to Aroma. You know what I mean? And it turns out, you know, this is basically a Jim Jones diss. As you can hear from the snippet, you know, talking about you 38 trying to join a gang and all of that other stuff. And I'm just gonna say right now, Fool's Meat as a song overall, I give it a like a 7.5 to an 8. As a diss record, I probably give it about the same, 7.5 to an 8. And I kind of got mixed feelings about this because this was a response to Aroma. Jim Jones wasn't on Aroma, right? This was about Jadakiss, Fat Joe, StoveGod Cuts, which we'll get to. We'll get to that. But it almost seems like you going for the lowest hanging fruit because dude was talking about you online. He said he was going to stick his young boy on him. He was critical about his Jim Jones was critical about your dress, all of that. So he took personal shots at him and decided to go at Jim Jones. So there are two ways of thinking on this, because I think personally he smoked Jim Jones on this. He got at him pretty hard. And I'm gonna play some more bars from the Summer Jam freestyle. But just the Jim Jones portion of this, he's the lowest hanging fruit because you know Jim's a hothead. You know Jim is gonna go and go online and talk about you and do Instagram troll shit. Like he thinks he's part of this Instagram generation. Like Jim Jones is you know what, 40, 50 years old. What is he? 50 years old, thinking he's like 25. He thinks he's in the street still, and it's kind of embarrassing. You know what I mean? Trying too hard to relate to young people like that. But the thing about Jim Jones, he's not going to bar up 38 Spesh. 38 Spesh could probably smoke him in a battle. I'll just say that. He already did on this, in my opinion. But it's the lowest hanging fruit because it's an easy target, and he did disrespect you. And so in the end of the day, I'll give the nod to 38 on this. Even though we know that the big fish is Jadakiss. We all know what this started off of, and we're going to get to the Jadakiss portion anyway, but he kind of handled Jim Jones on this, and you're going to see from the freestyle I'm about to play you, which isn't like the actual song, so I don't think I'll get copyrighted on this one, that he went at everybody. He did what he was supposed to do. You know what I mean? But the Jim Jones portion, it's kind of the easiest guy to get out the way. And I think he did that first strategically to get Jim Jones out the way. Like, let me just smoke you and just, all right, you say you're going to get your young boy on me? All right, this is what I'm going to do. Boom, you over. You want to get out the way. Now we're going to get to the main course. So this is like kind of an appetizer. You know what I mean? Now, let's get to his comments about Jadakiss and Fat Joe. Well, I'm going to play the freestyle version of this for y'all. Now, this is the thing. Mind you, this went on before Fool's Mate dropped. Fool's Mate dropped at midnight. This guy went on stage, I want to say like 8, 9 o'clock, and did this freestyle, which is basically Fool's Mate. So he set this up. So this is very strategic by 38. So let's play the freestyle, and you tell me what you think of this one. Hold on. Let me make sure my sound is up. All right. Okay. All right, let's go. Hold on.
Yo, Jim, I got a bone to pick. That's some whole shit worried about how another nigga clothes fit. With your house on the foreclosed list. You lost your crib in 06, and this nigga still homesick. What I really don't get, you want to be a street nigga so bad that you got Alpo old bitch. But Pro says she don't blow dick. Pro says she don't blow dick. Man, this nigga talking like a boss, but ain't giving out no jobs. Nigga, you can't even go home and get a blow job. Before you made cash off rap, what was your job? Jim's story faker than the one Fat Joe robbed.
Okay, so as you see, he went at Jim Jones the hardest. And look, verified fact that his wife, Chrissy Lampkin, had an affair or a fling with the famous Harlem drug dealer Alpo. That's fact. And Jim wifed her up. So like I said, he pretty much got Jim Jones up out of here with this one. You know what I mean? Now, Jim, he'll probably have a response, but and then he went in on about how he couldn't pay his mortgage or whatever over in Jersey. I remember that house. That house was on Love and Hip Hop or whatever. Like, he got in on Jim Jones. But the interesting part, he said, now he references Fat Joe. And he said, your life is faker than a Fat Joe story for all intents and purposes. Because, you know, Fat Joe likes to cap a lot, likes to exaggerate. He even jokes to himself about how he exaggerates, you know what I mean? How talking about, yeah, you know, we walked in a bar and we had like 100 ends with us or whatever, and we was going to hit them up, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, it was like maybe in the real life, it was probably like Fat Joe and like 5 other people. And they probably had a talking to a dude, and the shit was resolved. They didn't beat up people with 100, you know, 100 ends or whatever. So, yeah, so anyway, you know what I mean? As you hear, he gets into Jim Jones on this record, which is the freestyle version of it. But let's go on and let's play some more bars from this joint, because he's got some interesting things to say about Jadakiss.
And yo, broad face type valid. Without that body work, that bitch would be shaped like Khaled. Better replace them steaks for some late night salads. No matter how much you hate, you can't take my talent. You fucking with a real man with skilled hands. I took kilograms and build brands. Got a flow that could fill stands. And the only reason Kiss eating, cause he Fat Joe little man. And since y'all went and got that hook from StoveGod, I just might go in the back and hook StoveGod. Kiss, you'll never be your own boss. And only a bitch ass nigga record phone calls. Trust, friends on some.
Okay, so you saw that. He went into Jim Jones, talked about Chrissy again, you know, and I guess that's the vogue thing. Now it's like in rap battles, we just gonna go for your woman, you know what I mean? We're gonna talk about your woman, aka Drake, you know what I mean? But he gets into Jadakiss and says, "Oh, you fat Joe little mans," you know what I mean? Basically saying, you know, the whole podcast deal is really, you know, Fat Joe's idea, you know what I mean? And you just riding coattails, you know. And basically he took some shots at StoveGod Cooks because he was on the Aroma single, and then he said, "You never be a boss and be your own man," or whatever, you know. And that kind of takes a little dig, which ain't all the way true, but it's a little dig about the past history with him and Diddy, and of course Diddy not giving them their publishing, which they eventually got their publishing, you know what I mean? But basically saying, bro, you never owned shit, you know, you always been an industry dude, the industry always owned you. It's not till now you got your joint how many years later, but you never been your own boss. You always had to whether it's Interscope, whether it's Diddy and Bad Boy, you was always a slave. You was always owned. You know what I mean? And basically saying you never been your own boss. And that's a very short bar. And people are saying, oh, well, basically, well, because Jadakiss gave him one bar, you know what I mean? He really gave him 2 bars, you know what I mean? But it's appropriate, you know what I mean? It's appropriate. Oh, you gave me the warning shot. It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna come back. It's like, dude, you never even been your own boss. Why am I talking to you? Like, he's trying to say that. And because 38 Spesh Trust is all him, it's all independent. He owned all of that. But again, my rebuttal to that is, you know, just cause you independent, dog, doesn't mean you got the impact that Jadakiss, dog, ever had. You know what I mean? You can say what you want about Bad Boy, about his past history with Rough Riders. Those songs alone, okay, make more than damn near your entire catalog, bro. Benjamin's is worth your entire catalog. And Jadakiss gets publishing off of that to this day, my guy. I mean, yes, Diddy did give him his publishing. So it's like, yeah, I get it. You good because you got an underground movement, you got Ransom, you got your little wave going on up in Upstate or whatever. But bro, let's be honest. You niche hip hop for 30 and over hip hop fans, bro. You're an underground artist to Jadakiss. Jadakiss done it at so many levels. He's got platinum plaques on his case. When's the time you ever gonna go platinum? You know, the whole Trust label ain't gonna go platinum if they put out all their projects, my guy. Like, come on. And that's when sales were real too. We're not talking about you know, today with all these fake streaming numbers and people can bot up streams and stream farm their way to success. No, he did it when people actually went out and bought records. Okay. Platinum, gold plaques, all of that. And yes, Jada made money off of all of that. You know what I mean? He eventually got his publishing. So for you to say, oh, you never been your own boss, but dog, he got more money than you. So what's it in the end? And Jadakiss has his own label too. He's got so raspy. So he does the independent thing. He's got his own independent label. So what the fuck does that make you? He's got Nino Man and all of that. So I get it. But to me, I look at it like this. And it's strategic how he did this. I think he went for the low-hanging fruit. Jim Jones disrespected you, which he deserved to get what he got. I mean, truth be told, Jim needed a real spanking. I mean, ever since, because Jim been coming at Pusha T, he been coming at Nas, he been talking reckless about a whole bunch of people. He needed somebody to get him on wax, and 38 did that because he smoked Jim Jones. You know what I mean? We'll see if Jim Jones will respond. I think Jim Jones will. I don't think he's really. I may edge 38 in that, but 38 got bigger problems now because off of this. I mean, you took the shots at Jadakiss. I mean, you put it out there. You had a couple bars to Jadakiss. You basically called Fat Joe fake, which may be, a little bit of a story online or whatever, but still called out Fat Joe. And then after, you know what I mean? Fat Joe said, it's like, look, you might want to calm down with that, homie, because I get the militia on you. So now Fat Joe now is taking it to the streets. I don't really agree with that. This should be a competitive thing about hip hop. So after Summer Jam, 38 Spesh and his man said, come on, bring the militia on me. I'm ready. Bring the militia. Where the militia at? Backstage at Summer Jam, where they got all kinds of cops and security and all that. Now, see, my thing is, that right there, bro, leave that out of it. You know what I mean? Make this competitive about rap, but now you bring in street energy into it now. Now you calling out Fat Joe on his gangster. And I'm just going to warn 38 Spesh, you don't want to do that, my guy. That's not a wise move. Dude, Fat Joe is, let's just say he's a known guy in the streets, man. He's a made man. I mean, if he was in the mafia, he'd be one of those capos at the top of the five families, or one of the five families. You don't want to do that, dog. He got connections. He can shut you down in many different ways. Okay? I just leave Fat Joe out of this. But you call them out, and you call them out in the streets. Not a wise idea, but we'll see where that goes. Back to the Jadakiss thing, though. Jadakiss's homie on his label, Nino Man, came with a couple of freestyles that were pretty hard. They were pretty dope. And I don't know if it was as good as Fool's Mate. They're probably about the same. But I think Jadakiss so far handled this the right way. You know what I mean? I don't think Jadakiss off of this, I don't know if Jadakiss responds, but knowing Jadakiss, how competitive an MC, or I'll say this, I don't know if Jadakiss should respond, but I know Jadakiss, he heard that bar at the end of that freestyle, which conveniently he didn't put on the Fool's Mate on Spotify. Jadakiss is gonna respond to that. Like Jadakiss don't take shit sitting down, and I won't be surprised if he does another joint, a solo joint, and mops up 38 on behalf of Joe too. Jadakiss don't take this shit lightly, and just to let you know, Jadakiss is undefeated in battle. Jadakiss beat 50 Cent in his prime. Whole of G Unit he went at in their prime. I mean, he took out the whole of Dipset basically by himself on that versus stage. I mean, he smoked Fabulous in that versus. Jadakiss is not the guy you want to battle. If we're talking about battling, there are three people you do not want to battle, I think. One is Kendrick Lamar. One is Jadakiss. And I would say the other guy is probably Nas. Those are the three people you do not want to fuck with in this game if you want to talk about a back and forth. Now, I think 38 Spesh and Jadakiss would be a dope battle. And like I said, and I'll get into this, I think this is more about respect more than him really having a beef with Jadakiss, because I really thought about it. And I think really what it is that upstate New York wants to get their flowers as far as them being recognized as the top dogs in top lyricists in street rap. You know what I mean? We're going to talk a little bit about it. Hold on a minute. Let me set this video up because Mickey Fax brought this up. Basically, it's what we talked about in our last podcast about the upstate New York and NYC thing. And to me, it's all about respect. And I don't think 38 Spesh, I think the reason why 38 Spesh is really doing this is it's for clout, yes, but at the same time, it's like it's about time y'all give me and Trust and the upstate movement our flowers. You know, it's about that time. We've been holding it down for 10 years in street rap. We're doing our thing. You know what I mean? And well, I'm gonna play this Mickey Fax video to get into this a little bit more. We're gonna stop and start or whatever, do what we usually do, but I'll let him explain. And it kind of goes into what I was talking about in my previous video about New York City and upstate and this competition that's brewing into something that may be a little bit bigger than just a little bit of a back and forth, the 38 Spesh and Jadakiss. It may be one movement against another movement. Well, let's see. Let's see what Mickey Fax has to say. As soon as I could get it to play. Hold on a minute.
On top of that, the reason it's upstate versus New York is because of Jim Jones sicking his little man on, sicking his homie on 38 Spesh. So what does 38 Spesh do? Now listen, you got to look at it from this perspective. The entire New York is going to war. New York is going to war because of Jim Jones.
So, all right. So basically, he's basically saying that because Jim Jones had that video I played for you earlier with him and his man disrespecting 38, that 38 now is basically doing this song, and it's going to start a war between upstate and NYC, right? But to me, I don't think it's really Jim Jones. I just think Jim Jones was a low-hanging fruit for 38 to make an example out of. I think this is just the beginning, but I really think that this started with 38 and 38 and Jadakiss. And I think 38 went at Jadakiss because he wanted respect for the upstate hip-hop movement. That's what it is. When he said, at first I thought that, he wanted Kiss on a record. But then I really sat back and thought about it. And he said, well, he kind of said, he's like, yo, I smoked Jadakiss on that Sunday school record with Benny. And he been ducking me ever since. I'm thinking more now, he's trying to say he's better than Jadakiss. I'm going to follow up in a minute on this because this is, well, I'm going to get into it. But let's see what Mickey Fax has to say going on about this situation. Ah, man. I'm screwing it up. Hold on.
New York is going to war with each other because of Jim Jones. And when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, oh, okay. All right. Let me go at Jim Jones. And you notice a lot of people wasn't going at Jim Jones. Everybody, like people were taking shots at Jadakiss, which to me, it's just weird.
Okay, so that's that. And I don't think it's weird he was going to Jadakiss, and I kind of disagree with Mickey. I don't think that Jim Jones started all of this. I think 38 started all of this. I think Jim Jones was just the easiest target. And I think 38 is going to go at these guys one by one. I don't think this is just the beginning. I think 38's got shit lined up for guys, but 38 started this, and I think it's about respect. And I think the whole thing about, you know what, Kiss has been ducking me ever since I smoked him on that verse. This is about him begging for his respect. This is similar to last year when Joey Badass came out and said too much West Coast dick licking, all of that. Joey Badass wanted East Coast lyricists to get back in on the front page. He wanted to get East Coast lyricists to get their respect and wanted to bring respect back to New York. And that's why he called out Kendrick, because Kendrick Lamar was top dog in the game. He just smoked Drake, just had the Super Bowl or whatever, or was about to get the Super Bowl at that time. That's why he called out Kendrick and said, I want it with Kendrick. And of course, we know how that went on. I think this is the same thing. I think 38 is doing exactly what Joey Badass did and running the same playbook because he wants his movement, the Trust movement, the Griselda movement, to get more mainstream respect, to get more eyes on them. And he's doing this one by one. And I'm going to say right now, it's strategic. He went on Summer Jam, knowing Summer Jam was going to have a lot of eyes on them, being it's a big concert in New York. Not as big as it used to be, but still big, still going to go viral. He taunted Fat Joe after, saying, bring the militia, all of that. You know what I mean? And he smoked Jim Jones in the battle. This is very strategic, what he's doing. And I'm going to tell you right now, Fool's Mate's only the beginning. I think 38 Spesh has about 4 or 5 songs lined up. I think he's got a song for Fat Joe. I think he's got a song for Jadakiss. I think he's got more for Jim Jones. This is only the beginning, y'all. So I do agree with Mickey Fax that a war may go down. You know what I mean? Now, right now, I think it's just going to be Jim Jones and Jadakiss against 38. But it's going to be real interesting to see what the bystanders and what the fallout's going to be with the other MCs. And we talking about Conway. We talking about Rome Streets, who's got a fire album out. Yes, I need to do that review. That's coming. Don't worry about it. It's going to get interesting. This is going to get very interesting because I'm going to tell you right now, Jadakiss is responding. I don't even gotta know. I know Jadakiss. He's one of my favorite rappers of all time. He will respond to this. And off of that freestyle, maybe not the Fool's Mate song, but the freestyle where he took those shots at the end. Jadakiss is coming back with something. And it's going to get interesting. But like I said, this is not about a verse. I do not think it's about a guest verse. I think 38 did this strategically because he wanted eyes on him. He wanted clout, but he wanted eyes on him because he wants Upstate to get their respect. And it just happens he has an album out too. So definitely Jim Jones is not the start of this. Like what Mickey Fax was saying, this is all about 38 Spesh and his playbook right now. And I think right now he's off to a decent start because he got pretty much Jim Jones out of there. But I think he knows Jadakiss is the big fish and he's setting that up, which I already think he's got two songs lined up for him. And as far as the bystanders is concerned and people who may jump into this, it's interesting because Ransom is on his label. Ransom right now is pound for pound the best street lyricist in the game. Now, would Ransom take shots at Jadakiss? That's a very, very interesting question. If this thing gets deep, Like I'm saying, if Jadakiss comes back and does, you know, does a hard diss record, a hard diss track on 38, and goes in on his team. If Fat Joe comes out with something, let's say Fat Joe comes with a record, right? Who's Ransom going to line up with? He's on the Trust label now, even though Ransom's from Jersey. Does he come back and do a diss record on Jadakiss? Now, and once you get into that realm, oh, now it gets real interesting, because you're talking about two of the greatest lyricists of all time going head to head. All I gotta say is buckle up. I see 38 Spesh's playbook now. Before I was like, who's this guy clout chasing? And it still is a clout chase, but he's begging for respect. And he wants eyes on him, and it looks like he's getting it, because right now on my hip hop group, this is the viral talk. I mean, Drake, he's up out of here. We're done with Iceman. Iceman season's over. It's time to get back to real rap. It's time to get back to talking about real MCs going at it in a real battle. No online, bot drama or none of that. I'm glad to have the conversation back to real hip hop and not, corny online, bot banter. You know what I mean? But with fake, made up misinformation stories. Let's get back to real rap here. And I'm glad we did that. So I'll just say to close out, Fools Mate, overall, I give it a solid, I'm gonna go with an 8 out of 10. I'm gonna go with an 8 out of 10. I like it. I like what he did. He kind of wanted to get the low-hanging fruit out of here fast. So he smoked Jimmy. But I think the main course is still coming. We got more records coming. So Fools Mate, check that out. 38 Spesh responds to the controversy, responds to Aroma, which Aroma I think is an 8.5 out of 10. So we got Aroma. We got this record here. We'll see what happens next. It's about to get good, y'all. All right. I'll come back with some more content, and I'll talk to y'all soon. All right. Peace.